Hi guys, this is Tim Queen and today we're going to talk about how to price your products and services in 2020 with the right pricing strategy. Now, a lot of times people really get confused about pricing. They just don't know where to start. And today I want to share you three different dimensions how you can look at your pricing and how you can find the best possible price for you. Now, there are three types of focus for how you can look at your pricing. The first aspect you're kind of looking for is that you're looking at what is your competition charging? What is the market rate for what you are offering? This is the worst kind of focus that you can have when it comes to pricing, because this makes you someone who is reacting to someone else's decision. When the market rate goes down, you're reacting to that and your market price goes down. This doesn't take into account any of your cost or your profit margin, and it might actually turn you into a complete loss. So this is the worst pricing strategy, to look at what the market is doing. We are looking at something that you can actively do so you can be in control of setting the price and changing how much people are willing to pay for your services. Now, the second focus you could pick, I call this cost plus markup. This can be, you're just looking at like, how much does it cost you to do anything? And then you're thinking about like, I want to have a specific profit on top. This could be like a fixed amount of money, or it could be a percentage to keep your profit margin high enough. Now, this definitely makes sure that you're at least covering your cost, but it's also like quite difficult sometimes to evaluate like how much is your cost. For example, when you're operating a service-based business, how much do you charge for your time, for the specific actions that you're doing during a specific project? How much is that worth? And a lot of times people then get quite confused about this entire thing. And they're looking like, maybe I can set an hourly rate or a day rate or week rate or maybe a monthly retainer price and then I'm putting like a price on the time. So they're trying to find like a way how to evaluate like the amount of work that they're putting into something. But here's the thing, not every hour is worth the same amount of money. For example, you might take someone who is a wonderful videographer and you let them write some text or even like take down notes on the dictation. And then this person might get the job done, might take them like 3 times, 5 times, 10 times as much to do the text dictation. And you're like, okay, like I'm paying them 3 times the hourly rate, but you wouldn't get as much value from that. But on the other hand, if you're getting this person and you're getting them behind the camera to direct a scene shot, then suddenly you unlock that talent and there's something that nobody else can do. So now the value that they're spending in this hour is completely different. It might also be that you have learned how to fix a specific problem really quickly. For example, you might have spent 20 years becoming the expert in doing something that would take others weeks in 5 minutes of time. Now, would you charge 5 minutes of multiplied by your hourly rate? No, I mean, it would punishing yourself for becoming better and smarter and more efficient. So looking at time-based is not the ideal solution. A solution that's slightly better is to build a price based on a project. This allows you to, if you have this budget and you can get it done quicker, you're still getting paid the full amount for that project. The third focus we are looking at is value-based pricing. And that's the king of pricing. This is the best way how you can price it. It looks exactly how much value something is providing for the client. For example, what if you could tell the client a secret within a 10-minute conversation that would save the client $100,000 per year in revenue? How much would you charge that? Obviously, it's saving them $100,000. But then you don't want to charge it 100,000 because then they would break even, and the risk and the reward in comparison to the risk reward ratio is shifting. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of spending 100,000 to get 100,000. most clients are not willing to do that. A much better solution is to look something, how can you provide like 5 to 20 times more value than what it's worth to the client. For example, you could charge the client 10,000 for a consultation that is worth to the client 100,000. It's a clear, no, not just 100,000. Obviously, they're going to continue doing this. So like in the next year, they might do 200,000, 300,000. So it could be like $1 million worth of results, which they only have to invest like 10,000. And this is really the best way how you can build like a profitable business, by really being very specific what you're offering. You don't want to offer something where you don't have a competitive advantage. You want to think about what are the things where you can do 5 times, 10 times, 20 times more value to the client, and the value is really high in total again. This allows you to go on really high pricing for a really high price pricing strategy, and will get you much better results, because profit margins are key. You don't want to run like a business which is like barely breaking even. You need the big profit margins to grow your business, to start hiring people for your business, to get more efficient, to get better resources. So this is my recommendation in terms of pricing. Eliminate activities, services, and products that don't give you the right profit margin, where you can't price based on value. If you are in a competitive market, think about something, how you can provide more value than everyone else. So you have now the position, how you can charge much more for this. I also want to talk about the 4 different pricing strategies. The first one is budget. You will often find that people who have very small costs of living will always try to compete for price, because they can go much lower and then win the business. But this is really like the worst kind of strategy. Instead, you should really focus on like building more value up so you can charge competitively, even if your cost of livings are low. Then we already talked about the market or competition focus one. This is barely breaking even, is really like a bad thing. And just like the market might change, and then your small profit margin might suddenly drop down, and now you're like minus 20 and you're working at a loss. So this is just like barely surviving, and I don't recommend that you do this. The next category is premium. This is like a really good category to be in. It's like position yourself in terms of better quality, better service, better anything in relation to your competition. It's usually still cost plus profit margin kind of mindset. And the best possible pricing model that you can develop and implement in your business is a VIP pricing model, which focuses on the value that you're delivering to your customers. Now let's talk about pricing negotiation strategies in 2020. When it comes to talking price, a lot of times when someone is asking for a discount, for example, people will just give in and give the discount. But that's really bad, because what you're telling your client when you're doing this, if they hadn't asked for a discount, they wouldn't have gotten one. So the client thinks, oh, I would have been cheated. If I hadn't like requested the price discount, I had paid like this additional cost on top of this. So what you want to do is you want to get away that this might happen in the client's mind. The best solution for this is to not think about like negotiating the price point, but about trading the price. If the customer wants to pay lower, they have to give you something in return. For example, they might be willing to commit for a longer duration. Like if you have a monthly retainer, maybe instead of 3 months, they might go for 6 months or for 12 months. Then you can offer them a reward for committing to a longer duration, which in turn gives you more stability, and you can plan better. And maybe it's even saving you resource if you know exactly you're like having mapped out your entire client portfolio for the next 12 months. So that's another way how you can give someone a discount or trade a discount in return for having a long-term commitment. Then another form of how you can get the pricing, if you want to negotiate pricing, could be that the customer is willing to pay less, but in turn the customer is more flexible about the delivery time. So you might say, normally I would get this done within a week, but if you're flexible and you're paying today at a lower rate, I can do this work within the next 2 to 3 months time. I'm just going to find like a time spot when I have nothing else to do. So it's like not really taking up much space. So this gives me the flexibility to get the work done at a time when I have no business or I have plenty of time. But then in turn, the client doesn't get it like immediately. So he can choose, does he want to pay the full price and get it next week? Or does he want to pay a lower price and gets it anytime between like next week and the next 2 to 3 months, depending like what you're delivering, like what your timeline looks like. Another way how you can trade price is if someone is willing to buy a larger volume. We already talked about like committing to a longer duration. It could also be like for products that someone is, instead of buying like 100 items, they might buy 1,000 or 10,000 items, or they might commit to like a larger long-term subscription of larger volumes. And then in return, you can reduce the margin per item, which is often goes along like with production capabilities and economic of scale. Like especially manufacturing plants, sometimes like building the machine to produce something is like this huge amount of money. And then if you divide this by 2 items, then like the cost is like half per item. But if you do 100,000, it's just like a small fraction of this to build the manufacturing facility. So this also allows you like to scale this up and to also get the customer to like a better, longer term commitment. You can also trade features. For example, you're presenting a proposal to the client and you're offering them basically to do 10 different things. And then you might, the customer might say, could we do something? It's like, how about we take this out? This doesn't seem to be big priority at the moment. So maybe if we eliminate this factor, which would take us a lot of time to get this done, which is really important, but it doesn't seem to be that urgent right now. So we could take this out and I could offer you like a smaller price to adjust for that. So, but then it's like, no, I still want to have this. And I go, okay, then you have to pay full price. And the last factor that you can do is quality. And this can be sometimes difficult, especially if you have different personalities. This can be quite challenging for a lot of people because especially like perfectionists. But I want you to do like a YouTube search for like the 10-second, 1 minute and 10-minute challenge. And you find this for all kinds of areas where someone like artists, this is what I can do in 10 seconds. This is what I can do in 1 minute. This is what I can do in 10 minutes. And you're going to see like there is all kinds of different levels of detail that go into something. Yeah, maybe you can understand the outer shape of something like after 10 seconds, but there is a lot more work for getting all the shades and the details of like an image right. So if that's your personality and you can actually do a 10-minute or 1 minute or 10-second version of your work, and in return, you can lower the quality that the customer is receiving. If he doesn't, maybe some customers don't mind quality. Some people, they don't have an eye for design, for example. They're happy to get just like something. So if that's something you are willing to do, then this is something to think about. I personally wouldn't do that because I feel like I have a standard of quality and I feel like you only get the best results with the best quality. But it's another way how you can trade prices. So let me know in the comments below, what is your pricing strategy for 2020? Which one of the tips did you like the most? And make sure that you subscribe and turn the notification bell on to get an email notification when I release my next video.